All right, guys, so we are almost done with week one official of med school with the legit days where you wake up, you go to class, you do your labs, you do your whatever other work, and you call it a day. And, you know, it's kind of like undergrad in that you have classes and lectures, and then you study and you have exams and sometimes labs here and there, except it's much, much, much more intense and much more just a lot more time goes into it. When I was an undergrad, I think you could say like I was probably pulling 8 hours a day, maybe, like you'd have 2 or 3 hours of lectures and then spend 6 hours outside of class reviewing stuff, working on problem sets, working on projects. And that was kind of a nice little full day. And as long as you did that and you kept up with things, it wasn't bad. And after I graduated, I worked, and, the nice thing about work is that it's very compartmentalized into your life, and that it's like, you wake up at 8 a.m. and you're done for the day at 5, and you go home and you can do whatever else you want with your life. You can grocery shop, you can go on a bike ride, you can play video games, you can talk with your friends during the week, and I know not every job's necessarily like that, but at least the jobs I was working were pretty balanced in that regard of like you have time for yourself, and even during the day you're not like slammed with stuff. Like, you might get busy, but hopefully you get like a break and you could run off and run an errand if you had to. And so that's kind of bringing me to my point here, which is like the big difference here with that and what med school has been like for me. At least this first week has been way more intense, and it's like every single day is a lot. And I know we're under some special circumstances right now because of COVID, but the volume of information that you're expected to take in, to process, and to regurgitate is significantly more than what I've had to do in the past. And it's also given like I'm coming at this from a bit of a different angle in that like this isn't engineering. There aren't problem sets necessarily. These are things where you basically just have a list of things that you need to learn, and you have a lecture that you need to watch, or a series of lectures you need to watch in a given day. And so basically the whole point of your existence is to make sure you've understood all this stuff and then move on to the next day. And if you didn't get something yesterday, then you need to make up for it, and it goes into your backlog. And so basically the key takeaways for me have just been like, make sure that you're tracking your progress in an organized way. So I have an Excel sheet with every single lecture and like the status on it. So like, did I actually take notes, and did I take good notes, or did I summarize the objectives of that lecture? And then basically you just keep going down this laundry list of things to do, and like a practice problem set to review, and that is the bane of your existence. And so this is definitely work. And if you can find ways to enjoy it, I think that's great. I'm still working on that, but it's just a ton of stuff, and it can definitely seem overwhelming. I can totally understand why a lot of people, it just feels like you're drowning. But I will say that like the type of people that are in med school and your upper class men and women are people who are extremely cooperative and helpful and supportive. And I mean, I can only speak for my school, but that's what I've felt and seen is that, there's a lot of people who the second years, they're going through a lot of stuff too, but they go out of their way to help you and to say like, here's what helped me. Here's, it's a lot of very nice cooperation that honestly I didn't see much of when I was an undergrad. So that's one of the differences that I'm definitely noticing is just the amount of support and cooperation between people of different years is a lot more. It's a lot more work, and it's just it's a very different environment in some regards, and that we're not. It's not really competitive. There's nothing here that's competitive. Like, I think the thing with being in med school is that they know that you're not going to be here if you're not competitive. So it's like there's no need to make it more competitive. Maybe some programs try to pit students against each other. I'm not doing it here. They literally are just like, class rank doesn't even matter that much. It's just, do you know enough to pass the board exams? And that's kind of it. So you don't need to worry too much about any of that stuff. I think a lot of people, especially this first week, are just under a lot of stress and freaking out. And I think the most important thing in terms of like your own sanity is just making sure that you're doing something each day that you enjoy doing. For me, it's bike riding. If I wasn't doing that, I would be even more haggard right now. And for me, it forces me to make sure that I'm actually caring about myself in addition to like whatever stuff you're expected to learn that day. So I'm gonna wrap things up with that.